Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. So, for this video, I will discuss about the human rights-based policing. But first, let me first define what is human rights, okay? So, it is the basic rights and freedoms that all human beings have. So, in short, kahit anong kasarian mo, babae ka man o lalaki, anong status mo sa buhay, anong religion, what your ethnic groups, kahit anong language mo, and all in all, as may karapatan ka at kalayaan ka sa buhay kasi ikaw ay tao na nag-exist dito sa mundo. Let us go to human rights-based policy. So, right-based policing or HRBP is comprehensive, systematic, and institutional compliance with international human rights standards and practices in the conduct of police or law enforcement functions. So, as long as you are a police man, you are in the law enforcement, your function is to comply the standards of human rights. And it is also the right-based policing, human rights-based policing defines the relationship between individual citizen and various group of sectors of society as claim holders whose rights have to be respected and protected by the police. So, for example, I am a police woman and then I am arresting someone. So, the suspect. And then, for me to respect his rights and for him to know his rights, hindi ko siya dapat sasaktan. Kung ano lang yung duty ko as a policewoman, nahulihin siya, yun lang. Then, next, the obligation of the police is to respect and protect the fulfillment of human rights. So, that was the standards na the police must be follow. And that was their obligation. For them to claim the rights, they must know why you are arresting them, anong kasalanan nila, di ba? Andun yung sa Miranda rights. For them to respect, wag mo silang saktan, hulihin mo lang. Because that was only your duty. Kasi, taliwas sa mga kaalaman natin, di ba, na before sila hinuhuli or after sila hulihin is nabubugbog yung tao. And it is already violating the rights of the person. So, their duties and obligation is to protect the rights of humans. Policemen must be the human rights protectors. So, that is the human rights-based policing. We have the 5 characteristics of human rights-based policing. So, the first characteristic of that is human rights policing entails the strict observance of police policies and operational procedures. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Since ito yung first characteristic nila, they must follow the procedures. Like, kapag hinuhuli mo yung isang tao, yung suspect, okay, you will state the Miranda rights. I am arresting you for the crime of murder. Para alam niya kung ano kasalanan niya, bakit mo siya hinuli. Diba? And then, you have the right to remain silent. Right niya na manahimik because it was stated in the Constitution as the human rights. So, they must be strictly observed and follow the procedures. Kasi yan yung standard. Dapat. And that is the first characteristic of human rights-based policing. Adherence to international human rights of law enforcement. So, they must adhere the human rights standard of human rights in the law enforcement. So, it simply says that they must follow the the 10 basic international human rights standards. So, Isa na dyan yung i-discuss ko. So, it is say that kailangan nilang i-follow lahat ng standard yun. But i-follow nila kasi yan yung nasa international standard na dapat lahat ng mga pulis yun ang gagawin nila. Okay? Is now professional competence and courteous service. Human rights-based policing is demonstrated through professional competence and courtesy in order to prevent human rights violation. The police must only use the calibrated force to subdue suspect. Okay. So, they have to be professional and competent and courteous to their service. So, kailangan kung ano lang yung dapat na nasa standard, yun lang yung gawin mo. For example, it was stated that for you not to be violate the human rights as a policeman, kailangan gagamit ka lang ng lakas. Or, gagamit ka lang ng lakas kapag kailangan na. When the police follow proper operational procedure, they uphold and protect human rights. So, the procedure is hulihin mo lang. Wala naman dun sa procedure na bugbugin mo. So, 'di ba? Kasi kapag lumagpas ka dun sa standards, you're making your own rules, you already violating the rights of the person. Kasi hindi ka sumunod. Okay, number 4. For rule of law and civilian supremacy. Okay, civilian supremacy. So, respecting human rights is like the golden rule. It is about treating others in the way that we wanted to be treated. Kapag ayaw gawin sa'yo, huwag mong gawin sa ibang tao. So, let us still go back to the example of what I've said. So, citizen and policeman must have a good relationship. Kasi in times of there are crimes that will happen, the source of the information are the citizens that can give lead to the police men to solve the case. So, kapag hindi nirespeto ng mga pulis ang mga sibilyan, you think they can get the proper information or they can solve the case? Of course not. So police must maintain the good relationship to the civilian, to the people around. So, respect the rule of law para din hindi nila ma-violate yung rights ng tao. It is best exemplified when the police practices accountability for all actions as the case may be in action on matters related to the protections of the legal right. The last characteristic is pro-democracy and pro-citizen. Oh, you have to be pro, not to be anti. Okay. Human rights base is democratic and citizen-centered. Democratic values are best demonstrated by the police when it seeks a greater participation by the community in maintaining peace and order. So, the police organization must always remain responsive and relevant to the needs of the community. So, kahit anong need ng community, your duty as a policeman, you have to respond. Anong need ng citizen and society is kailangan i-response ng mga police kasi yun yung duty nila. And of course, in responding, they must not forget to respect the rights of the person. So that was the 5 characteristics of human rights-based policing. So now let us proceed to the 10 standards. Let us proceed now to the basic international human rights standards for law enforcement, but I will only discuss the standard number 5, which is the use of lethal force. Lethal force should not be used except when it's strictly and avoidable in order to protect your life or other lives of others. So, ito, lethal force is yung nakakamatay. Okay, nakakamatay na lakas. For example, is your firearms. Okay? And non-lethal force is yung stick, baton, and then also pepper spray, stun gun, and etc. Since we are talking use of lethal force, should not be used. Hindi siya dapat ginagamit. Okay, dito muna tayo. For example, you will not use lethal force kapag hawak mo na yung suspect. Siyempre, hindi mo na siya pwedeng barilin. Hindi mo na siya pwedeng barilin kasi hawak mo na siya, nahuli mo na siya. And also, hindi mo rin siya pwedeng bugbugin. Nahuli mo na nga, binugbog mo, and then, what if namatay yun? Edi, you are not following the standard number 5 na because you are using your lethal force. But there is exemption. Except when is strictly unavoidable. Kapag hindi na talaga maiwasan na kailangan mo nang gumamit ng lethal force for you to protect your life and the life of others. So, syempre, in the public, let us say, hinuli mo yung suspect and then may baril din siya. And then binunot niya yung baril niya, tinutok niya sa iyo or sa ibang tao. So, talagang mapipilitan ka na gumamit na ng lethal force. Gagamit ka rin ng baril. Maunahan mo siya dapat para hindi ikaw yung mabaril niya or yung ibang tao. So, ito lang yung ibig sabihin sa standard. Conduct regular firearm proficiency, training and testing for all police personnel. So, may guideline siya, A to B. So, dapat dito daw, sinasana yung mga police na gumamit ng mga baril, para alam nila yung ano ang gagawin nila in times of crisis. For example, may hostage na nagaganap, they must know how to use their firearms. And next, letter C, based on our discussions, based on what I have learned, may mga police daw na have a short temperament of anger. So, kapag nasa sitwasyon na sila na naiinis na sila doon sa suspect, hindi nila mapigilan yung sarili nila na gumamit na ng lethal force. So, yung iba kaya nabubugbog ng bubugbog. Oo po, ng bubugbog. Kasi, yung ano nila, yung anger, yung eagerness nila na masaktan yung tao kasi dun sa kasalanan ginawa. So, police personnel must be orient about the stress anger management. So, dapat pala i-orient to. So, nasa standard. So, they are oriented in how to manage their anger. So, police work by nature is very stressful. Oo nga naman po. Nakaka-stress maging police. Kahit hindi. If you are a police officer, you must be stable in your mental and emotional health. Kasi po, kapag hindi, ay talagang makakapatay ka po ng tao. Okay. So, counseling and debriefing is very important, especially for personnel who are engaged in armed encounters or violent incidents. So, after po ng incidents, they must be undergo to counseling and neuropsychiatric testing for them to be reoriented and for them to manage their anger, for them to know in terms of using lethal force. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you for listening and God bless everyone. Happy vacation day.